And welcome back to the channel, everybody. Welcome back to a new video. Today, I'm going to respond to some of your requests for an update on the Demon 170 prices. And not like I know you can go and see for yourself, but I've had folks asking me lately, is it time to buy a Demon 170? And it seems like every 5 months or so, I've been posting a video giving you an update on where prices are and where I think they're going on the Demon 170s, because as we all know, and I'll put this up here real fast, the things were insane at the beginning. $250,000. Look at this, $386,000. We all remember those insane days when the Demon 170 was coming out. Now imagine if you were one of the people that paid that kind of money for those cars. And imagine if you were not a billionaire or a multi-millionaire who needed to spend your money before you die. So you just went out and blew it and you didn't care if you lost money on it.
You have 30 days in which to spend 30 million bucks. If you can do it, you get 300 million.
There's gotta be a catch.
Sold $400,000.
You just wanted to be the guy with that car. You would have been creamed at this point when I share with you what's going on with Demon 170 prices. Now, I have been called a hater. I have been trashed in the forums. People have been nasty, downright nasty with me online because of my predictions on these prices and frankly exposing of the ridiculous scam which was the hype over these cars, because they were never worth $400,000. They were never worth $250,000, and they certainly were not worth $200,000. Now, that is something I stood by from the beginning. And what I said, if you go back and watch my original videos when these things were first coming out and hitting the streets, I said that they're going to land around $150,000. That's about what they're going to be worth. And I'm talking like with the carbon fiber wheels and everything. That's like the top spec. Now, maybe I did even think that maybe there were some rare specs that might go for more than that. We heard all the insanity on the groups and the forums saying, well, if a Demon 170 has a sunroof, it's worth less. So that's why that one sold for less. If it has the carbon fiber wheels, but no sunroof, and it has the single seat and the leather interior, and it's a Wednesday, that car is going to be worth the most money. If it's in sublime green, and I mean, all the insane gyrations we went through just watching on the forums of people trying to defend the prices. Recently, there was a guy that did a ChatGPT rundown and asked what would his Demon 170 be worth in a period of time. And maybe it was a decades down the road or something like that. And ChatGPT came back and said it was like $1 million, some crazy number. Now, he was very, if you saw that post, he was very realistic in saying, listen, I'm not saying that's what I think it is. I'm just saying that's what ChatGPT is saying that it's worth. Now, ChatGPT is wrong about 80% of the time. So before you go believing all that stuff, it mines the internet for stuff. And if it's bad stuff, it's going to give you bad information, because the freaking Bugatti Veyrons did not appreciate by $1 million, $1.5 million. So there's no freaking way that this thing would be worth $1 million, because that would mean that it's worth, what, 7 times its sticker. And even the freaking LaFerrari, which has gone to the moon, didn't go up that kind of money. So maybe it had a 3 times multiple or something. So it's not going to go there. But let me share with you what's happening, because I was wrong. I was wrong when I said 150. Because they're actually less at this point. So if you're asking me, which I had a couple messages recently saying, is it time to go buy one because Racer X sold his, and does that mean that it's time to go and get these things because prices have fallen? Listen, I talked to Racer X. We were texting one day. And you know one thing I didn't do? I did not ask him what he sold his for. Out of respect. Fellow YouTubers, I'm not ever going to get blamed for sharing private information, which means I don't want to have the private information, because if it gets out or people find out or he wants to share it, that's on him. It's not on me. But this is not why I think they're worth this. I wanted to get that out of the way too. But that spurred a lot of questions. What's going on with the DM170? Should I go buy one now? And I will tell you, the number one problem with the value of this car is that too many people, if 3,000 were produced, then 2,990 of them were stored in a garage with no miles on them. I could be exaggerating, but let's just go ahead and say, what if it was 2,000 of them? What if 1,000 of them got driven and raced and ran hard? I don't believe that's the case. Then we've got we've got 2,000, if that's the case, which I think it's way more than that have been sitting, that have been collected. And I don't believe there's been any time in history where a car was bought by this many people to not use it. What makes cars appreciate in value is their rarity. And the rarity is driven by, one, the amount of the cars that were actually built and sold by the manufacturer, and then the amount of cars that over time, generally decades and decades, that survived, that are still around in pristine condition with low miles. Well, considering there are thousands of them out there being held, I would say, hostage in garages by speculators who would be better off buying gold or Bitcoin or any other kind of investment, they're sitting on these cars hoping that they're going to go up in value. So many of them are sitting there that at whatever point they decide to flush these onto the market, let's say 20 years from now, they won't be worth anything because the numbers will be clear that there's still 2,000 of these things with no miles on them and potentially faulty engines, because that's not something they're going to be able to run from or hide, still sitting out there ready to go to market. And what we're seeing right now is those speculators, those flippers, those people who thought that they were going to be able to cash in and build their 401k with a car are now dumping these things. And I'm saying, compared to my last videos, there's significantly more on the market for significantly less. Let's go check this out. So we'll leave this behind because we know how stupid things got. And I like to go to eBay because these guys are hoping that people will bid them up. So here's, and by the way, every spec you can imagine, you can find. Carbon fiber wheels. Look at this. A carbon fiber wheel car. Sunroof. Now somebody's going to say, but Brad, the sunroof drops the value of the car. That's okay. There's plenty out there without sunroofs and carbon fiber wheels. But 159.5, 154. Now, the reason why I said I was wrong about landing around 150, now, every one of these people, if you offered them 150, I'm going to bet dollars to donuts they're going to take it, okay? 21 watchers, 13 watchers. There's not 4,000 watchers. There's a handful of buyers that are not willing to step up and pay that money. But the reason why I said I was wrong is you've got a car here with 87 miles and plumb crazy for $138,995. You've got one with 1,200 miles at $145, and that I believe is overpriced based on the miles, but you would be better off probably buying the 1,282 mile car than you would be the 87 mile car or the 9 mile car, because this one likely isn't going to have the engine problems. At least we hope. So 149, 149, 147. So my 150 target was pretty damn dead on, but you can find them for even less. Here we go. Is this a 170? Let's assume it is for 145. And then you've got the crazies still sitting on the market, hoping to get a ridiculous price. 171.9, 27 miles. Here's one, 159.9. There's a lot of them. You don't have to, sit back and say, but I can't find one for sale. There's plenty of them for sale. Then the Dreamers, 189.995. Here's one, 148.9 with 13 miles on it. Here's the Dreamers, Still the dreamers out there. Never going to see that price again, period. And they hate me. They hate me for even doing this video. Here's one 18 miles, 149,800. Now you can all go on eBay and just do the search and find the one you want. Carbon fiber wheels, no sunroof. You know, you want the leather interior, the cloth interior, the seat delete, whatever. You can find it because there is plenty up there for sale. Now, let me go and show you. Go back to that. On the Demon 170 for sale Facebook group. This one just came up 10 hours ago. Okay, so this is fresh. I'm looking at this right now. Demon 170, number 920, F8 green, red interior. I say that's a popular, Christmas spec, if you will. Red leather seats, red belts, rear seat delete, all three tops, black, sticker 123, 136, 103 miles. Car's never been raced, flogged, or tires spun. Perfect shape, ceramic coated. When new, all original paperwork sticker, 139 firm, $139,000. So here you go. Here is your really low mileage, brand new, virtually, Demon 170, $139,000. If you want one, go get it. Here's one, 154.9. Here's another one. So 23 Demon 170, 720 miles. So that make me feel a little bit better that it's been driven and not blown up yet. And here you go. You want your Demon 170? 139.9. All right, here is a VIN matched. This guy owns a dealership. VIN matched pair of Demons, a 2023 and a 2018. 2023 is a carbon fiber car, and a 2023 1,723 miles, 17 miles in the Demon 170, 25,000 additional accessories, extra Demon crate, 279. Do the math. It's 150. So if you cut it in half, it's not even that, 140 each or something like that. So let's go ahead and assume that maybe he wants 160 and maybe 120 or something for the other one. But I imagine they would not sell them individually, but it confirms my theory here. And then you've got the Dreamers. I think this guy is saying $180,000 is what he wants for this Demon 170. And I can tell you, all right, this is the denial in these groups. So this is that $180,000 he wants for this thing. Market coming back around for these cars right where it needs to be. Every day I see more and more of them going up in price. They're going down in price. These people are absolutely in denial. Do the searches. You will see that they are not coming back. This guy says, LMAO, love those who bought these as investments. What the F? My 2018 Demon has 27,000 now. My 2023 170 has 7,000 miles. I drive and enjoy mine. Good for him. I like Mike. Mike could give two chits if he gets 50 grand for it in 10 years. These guys, market is coming back around. No, your own post kind of shows that they're not. So people are saying, oh, the prices are going up. Here's one June 10th, a Demon 170 and 162 736 or 157. This guy wants like what, $4,000 or $5,000 for the collectibles, which is just the shot glass, I guess, and the decanter, and I don't know, whatever the hell else it was. Anyway, so 157. So when people keep saying they're coming up, they're not. And I could keep going through over and over again. 159, still a good price. Oh yeah, here's the guy, the ChatGPT guy that did the math, or had ChatGPT do the math on what this thing would be worth, and it says research suggests its value could reach between $1 and $2 million by 2045, depending on market trends. A Ferrari, LaFerrari, maybe. I mean, well, for sure, right now. I mean, that thing's there, but doesn't go up that many multiples. Like, and this guy was cool about it. He even says he's just trying to start a debate and see what they say. But artificial intelligence should be artificial stupidity. Oh, and then they try to compare it to the 70 Plymouth Hemi Cuda with 666 units produced, is appreciated from around 4,000 to 500,000 to $1 million. This ain't no Hemi Cuda. This is not finding those cars, those survivor cars. And by the way, 666 units produced. You can't make that comparison. It's just It's not. It's a 3,000, I think 3,300 of these things, not to mention the ones that slipped out to celebrities. I don't know if those count, but bottom line is, and for the most part, these Hemi Cudas were not stored in garages at the level that these are. So bottom line, folks, let's go over here and just say, okay, forget about eBay. Let's go ahead and look at dealerships, actual dealerships. So here is a Demon 170, 141, 251 at this dealership for sale. Here is another one at a dealer that is notorious for charging way too much for everything. And I've roasted them a few times for their ridiculous markups. And I think I even have this car in one of my videos where they were asking over $200,000 for it. And as of today, despite the guy saying the prices are going up, it has fallen down to $149,741. And I believe if somebody walked in there with cash in hand, ready to do a deal, or even financing the car, ready to buy this thing and willing to pay probably $140,000, they'd leave with that car. I would bet anything. Take me with you, and I will make sure you do, because we will negotiate like gladiators and walk with that car. But this is not a car that you should be counting on as an investment. If you want to buy one right now to enjoy yourself, to drive and have fun in, it's going to cost you between, let's say, $140,000 and $160,000, and you're going to, if you put miles on it, you're going to lose money. Just the way it is. Unless all the other ones burst into flames and disappear off the planet, and you end up having one of 300 or 400 left in the world in 2045. So go get your Demon 170, but lowball everybody. Go to these dealerships. I wouldn't pay more than $140,000, let's just say. And some of you can say, I wouldn't pay that much. I'm just saying, if you want one and have fun in it, go in there and get one for $140,000. I think that's probably the number that I would set if I was shopping for a car. Now, if it has carbon fiber wheels and leather interior and the things you want, maybe you pay $150,000. At the most $155,000. But just know that you're going to lose money, especially if you plan to use that car. And I hope that you do. I hope that you buy it for your own enjoyment and drive the wheels off of it, because had you bought one a year and a half ago, even a year ago, even 7-8 months ago, you were going to pay $175,000, $185,000, $200,000, $250,000 at the beginning of the hype. And now they're not. And don't listen to the guys saying they're going back up. They're absolutely not. Because now these people are sitting on them saying, I need to liquidate my cash. The stock market's been up and down like crazy. Economic uncertainty, interest rates are still high and not looking like they're going down anytime soon. And frankly, there are people who are getting older and thinking, I'm not going to make the money I thought. I might as well dump this thing, turn it into cash now, and put the cash into something that actually is an investment, like real estate or some blue chips or some gold and silver, put into something that you got a better chance of getting a actual return on, proven historically over time. So with that, let me know your thoughts on what you think the Demon 170s are worth now. Like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.